Well, as we're sitting here on this beautiful afternoon, Thursday afternoon, December 28th, year 2023, continuing with the tradition of public access and the tradition of the Hello Hello show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, Francis Ann, and of course the likes of you out there that make it your business directly and indirectly, knowingly and unknowingly, to enhance and fortify the concept of public access as it should be. So we thank you for that. Of course, also not to fail to mention the group archers that we have here on a monthly basis. We have Josh Dayton, incredible artist, is here with us until through the month of January, and we have Steve Lotion. You know Steve
I know
Lotion,
Steve. Yeah.
and myself, and we're gonna have an opening Saturday, January 6th between 4 and 6:30. Reggie Cornelia is here with us. Reggie, first of all, thank you for coming. I love you. You're my friend, and
Thank you for being
because I
here.
want your voice to be heard, I will even help you.
Oh,
It's never too close.
there we go.
Here we go. So,
Oh,
you
yeah.
won't
I guess I
blink.
should take the hat off because
No,
it
no,
looks
no,
like I'm getting ready to run out
no,
of
no,
here.
no.
Yeah.
This is good, actually. Leave it on.
Yeah, leave it on.
No, whatever. As you feel. As you feel.
How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like
Cover up the
like a French revolutionary that underground
cover
participant.
up
Anyway,
the silver
it's almost strange to hear me mention your name. It's been so long,
It is
and we
been a
used to
long time.
occupy the screen for on a regular basis. I think the amount of poetry time that we have accumulated on the air is nothing less than formidable, even though it was just a fraction of our interaction.
Yeah, unfortunately you yanked me right off the road, and so I don't have my little book of poems. Our favorite poem there. This is the land where hate should die. By the way, you know how effective that poem is. I read it to my family at Christmas dinner, and they were all set to go. Oh, do we can get this over with fast? I yanked that.
And once they hear it, they
once
loved
they
it.
heard it, they said, "Oh, what a perfect time to read that poem." I said,
Did
"Yeah."
you mention my name, like
Yeah,
the camaraderie and
they,
Haim and
I
we used
did,
to
but
do
they
that?
said who? No, I said Haim. They said who?
L'chaim.
I'm,
Well, if you say L'chaim, they know. But do they know the extent of our friendship? At
I
least
told
something.
well, they don't believe. My sister has watched a couple of my shows. My brother-in-law doesn't have the patience to watch them. He changes channels every 3 minutes, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have the patience.
So they reacted
Yeah,
well.
yeah. They thought. Although my sister said you have to stop touching your nose.
Yeah, you're
And she
like.
said, "Don't scratch yourself while you're on." And of course, she's right, but I don't.
When it scratches, it's itchy everywhere.
Yeah, she's lucky. That's all I scratch.
So lately I've been emphasizing what is already obvious and a no-brainer. But for me, being an artist and finding myself, no matter what, whether it's 20 minutes or 3 hours in my studio every day, and even though I'm not one of the greatest, and I'm not like holier than thou, and I still am just an individual to make it his business to be active in the world of creativity and art. And I think that in more ways than one, history proves it that it's that it's the best, most efficient form of dealing with evil is to present it with the power of something that is delicate and appealing and beautiful. You know what? And beauty itself can stand as a buffer.
But
And
sometimes evil is so powerful and so out there. I think if those Israelis living on the Gaza border, whether they had hung up a Rembrandt or a Pollock, those butchers wouldn't have stopped one bit. So I know art is powerful, and if if you get it into kids' heads, the idea of the beauty, the beautiful, the true, and the enlightening, if you get it into their heads early, then you're golden. But if you get hatred into their heads first, then
of course,
you need poetry
but I
in
don't
the
even.
form of rat tat 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 tat.
But I'm not even talking about that. I mean, that's obvious. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm
No.
talking about just um, um, what do you think is considered powerful when it comes to? Let's just say you paint a painting, and another one, and another one, and you write a poem, and you play a musical instrument, and you perform, and you this. You're not anything to write home about, but you do it all the time, all the time. What, how, what is it that we can take power from when we engage in that? How do you see it?
It's you
And
know,
it's a fair question. It's a real
well,
question.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm no one to ask because I don't do
You don't need to be
that
an expert.
that
Just how
often.
you
But
feel about it.
well, when you come across something, I mean, there's poems that I remember from the first time I read them, or stories, and other things that I read. And you ask me a question about them. There's a guy named Jack Carr out there now. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he's written 7 books right in a row, and they're all fun to read. But if you ask me the name of the character, I don't think I can remember. And it's the stories are fun, but I don't remember them. But if you read a poem, well, every 5 or 6 years, or maybe every 10 years, I write a poem. I wrote one this summer. I don't think I told you. My friend was having his daughters were throwing him a surprise 80th birthday party, and I've known this guy since since I'm a baby, since I'm 1 year old, and it's up in this upstate, up in the Adirondacks, and I'd see him every summer, and he lived in Brooklyn too. So our fathers were friends, so they took us to baseball games together. Anyway, so he's eating something now and not offering me anything, so he's gone. But they can only see one person at a time. Is that how this works? Haim?
Hmm?
They can only see one person at a time. Is
Yes,
that how
of
this
course.
works? But anyway,
You started worried.
I thought he was leaving the room. So anyway, it was my friend's 80th
This is
birthday.
high powered scenario here, so you know what I
So
mean.
I wrote a poem because
I love it.
I just sat there. It was a crazy summer. A lot of Canadian smoke, a lot of rain, and I didn't have a great summer weather-wise. So I sat in my sister's house. They were moving out of their main house, which it was in Utica, New York, and so they were very busy. So I had the whole place to myself for days at a time, and it took me 4 or 5 days to write this little. It wasn't even a poem. It was, I would call it a a, a birthday card, a rhyming birthday card. Here's how you like the opening line. Uh, we were born the same year, just 1 month apart. So fate played a role right from the start. Bef- uh, we knew each other. We met before we were one. Before we could handshake, before George could pun. He's known for among his family for he's always trying to make puns. So that got a big chuckle. So I have to say I got chuckles out of almost every stanza, and a couple of jokes and a couple of so it was good. It was a lot of fun to do it, and it's a minuscule example of what a good writer or poet or play whatever artist feels when he sees someone locked into his product or her product. It was a little inkling of what effect you can have if you get it right. And I have to say, this poem was right. His daughters, oh, they loved it. They said they're going to frame it, and
Yes.
so it was fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, it falls within the category of no. It's a no-brainer, and when you look at what is so powerful about it, it's really the willingness to actually do it,
Mm-hmm.
and usually it won't even be you reading it. You would look frantically for someone to read it other than you. So it's not like this.
Well, I did. I tried to get his
And
daughters to read
that's
it.
why I was relieved when you not only were willing to read it, but also were capable of reading it. I mean, some eloquence was there. So
Well, yeah, they wanted me to read it. I wanted them to read it, and
yeah,
instead they insisted that I read it.
yeah, oh yeah,
So,
that's like
in other words, but they were saying, in case this is a disaster, we want it on your head.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But in my case, you know what I do now? I formed a relationship with the artificial intelligence. So and I think that there's only artificial intelligence can really tolerate
We've been,
emotionlessly my stuff. There's no argument about that. There's so much focus. Listen to this. I'm sure you'll be able to relate to it. There's so much focus on practicality, meaning, okay, if you're an artificial intelligence and I'm gonna just writing something to you without even stating what is it that I'm trying to get out of it, AI will give you something accurate and practical, because it will identify that it's poetic in a poem or whatever. Then it will understand that the sender is awaiting a response. So these are two basic things, but the kind of response and the kind of level of understanding being able to literate that AI can give, that's where the magic plays a factor when human beings are involved with artificial intelligence. You follow what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Well,
we've had artificial intelligence at work in this country for many years. It's called the media.
The media.
They're fake news from top to bottom. They're getting worse, not better, and they're so uneducated. I mean, the things they don't know are staggering, or pretend not to know. Anyway,
but for example, I want to talk to you about just a little fraction of post and pre interaction with AI. So. Far from being the lost soul in the center of the soul, since it is a pair of blindfolded figures walking aimlessly between a serving chef and a hungry palate critic.
And a hungry palate what?
Critic.
Oh.
So it be brown earth cover over blocked breathing channels, not as roughness serves to persuade behind the traveling truth. Solid to transparent to the hilly, semi-solid drum beats passing before gravitating exclusivity, own meaning bluffing a remorse chance, uncovering and grand slamming lasting before the all-capable shaking as it grew when the midst of sweetness, brightening shine with shine, clock, rust about time, an impression of them turning and stunning, blanks whirling, not even a relation, a suggestion, an indication, a hint, and you above, with the mere will to acknowledge, to decipher, blank, yes, blank surrounded with happy slanders, but moreover, the trivia led and scribed. And then you get a whole summary, which is, it captures a sense of duality and contrast.
Now, you wrote this or AI wrote this?
No, I wrote this, of course. Depicting a journey through perceptions and interactions, the imagery of blindfolded figures between a serving chef and a critical palate suggests a dynamic of contrasting experiences or viewpoints. The mention of solid and transparent elements paired with the idea of bluffing and exclusivity, it adds depth to the narrative, hinting at layers of complexity and concealment, the exploration of time, impressions, and the struggle to acknowledge or decipher amidst ambiguity and slanders creates an intricate tapestry of emotions and reflections. So, I mean, when it will take you a friggin' lifetime to find a partner that can do 1% of this together with you.
Well,
a lifetime with a huge question mark.
I'm just really, I always enjoy it when you have trouble reading your own poem. So it lets people know what I have to go through when I try to decipher one of them.
Because I'm excited you're here. Usually I'm really, like anxious. Like I know that you're like up there with your so in you know that in the old times of the Hebrew times, 4,000 years ago when they used to fight, they used to have a division. They used to have a division of 10,000 singers,
Singers.
powerful as hell,
Because
sent to
you
the
can't
battlefield.
always trust the numbers in the ancient documents, but I understand what you mean. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 10,000. Better believe it.
Imagine if what they can do with one boombox now. They knock down walls. Jericho didn't.
No, because
Jericho didn't stand a chance against some of the speakers I've seen in
wait.
cars.
What I'm trying to tell you is that the sentence that was to be followed by what I said would explain to you the drama behind things. So they sent 10,000. You know what these 10,000 people do where they are positioned in the battlefield just before it's happening, major battles or whatever. When they do their routine, all the participants of the just to happen, just to become, just to start war are exposed to it. There's nobody can be exclude spared. They had a way of inserting fear into your heart that doesn't leave you.
Yeah.
It's almost like panic attack, almost like anxiety attack. You know.
Well, that was the purpose of the bagpipe, was to make improve the spirit and the morale. The only thing is that some people really don't like the noise from a bagpipe, so you might have been annoying the enemy more than intimidating him. But no, how about there's a story, and I don't know if anybody knows whether it's true or not. Archimedes, the Greek mathematician, genius,
Archimedes.
He supposedly a Greek city was under attack by a fleet of ships, and he had the soldiers all brush their shields to the brightest luster imaginable, and he had them organized at the height of the noonday sun on these vessels. He set them on fire from the now. It sounds a little fantastical to me, but who knows?
I mean, it can start as fire small as we know it, and we've done it
Well,
before.
small fire is all you need.
So why in large scale the concept won't work? Of course, it will work. So it's been proven already.
Well, I did my.
But
did you ever burn ants when you were a kid?
No,
You never did
that.
that.
No, why would I?
That's just because some kid showed me. He had a little microscope, and he held it so that the magnification was right on the ant, and it actually did burn the ant.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, and I tried it, but it didn't. I don't remember whether I had any success or not.
But speaking of this power, so now we can take it into understanding why we're talking about it, because it's real. You know, you have like Picasso and the likes of him, and so many others, progressive, modern, whatever, all the way from Impressionism, Expressionism. They've been it all. They've done it all. They invented their own. So the impact of their spending time in their own kind of placement in the studio is scary.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know
so
me.
They go in and they come out. They leave behind something that is scary, that will impact you and impact your life. So you can work 150 years, 7 days a week, and suddenly a person like this will sell a piece of artwork that will outdo your income 100-fold for life. No, but I mean, but it's the willingness of people to say, I'm going to pay this price. So it's showing everyone, it's showing us that society is really coherent when it comes to rightfully valuing that and proving that it should be important to be in our lives.
I'm not sure about modern art. I still am not. A lot of modern art is really pretty insane if you come down to it, because it leaves the average person like me, or anybody who's not privy to your life experiences, it leaves you out in the dark. I look at some of these things. I don't know. I like colors sometimes. I like the way they come together, but I would rather look at a Delacroix than a Pollock anytime. But that's just because I am, I'm a very bourgeois Neanderthal in my tastes. But I've been told that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Usually at art galleries.
But listen, where did you develop your sensitivity to art? Because you sure have not only opinions and but you acknowledge in the way of someone that accumulated some kind of knowledge, and so or is it just pure level of sensitivity towards
Well, just
something that's beautiful, you know?
I can't say that I've been in a lot of museums. I didn't even get to the Louvre when I was living in France because the day we went there it was just too crowded. I said, "Let's go get a sandwich."
This is how severely I changed.
Whoa! Wow! You should be making furniture or drapes. And so that's
Yeah, this is
now
kind of.
that is that rope or is that paint or I don't know what that
It
is.
doesn't matter. That's good that you don't know, but just the shape, just what it represents, you know.
Hmm.
And this is without any warning. It's without any warning, you know, and it's like,
Just what comes out.
yeah, no, I mean, you know, of course I have control over it, but you know what kind of a change this is from the work that you're accustomed to see them.
Yeah, although you did something with strings a while ago. I remember
Correct.
strings in boxes.
Yeah.
I think I still have some of them somewhere.
Really, you have a piece like this of mine?
There were a few of them. There was a set of them that had strings in boxes like that. Excuse me, I have something in my stomach that's
I
making.
think I need to call for help here.
Yeah, really. Now, what? How big is that?
This is 4 by 5. It's big.
Wow, yeah, it looks big.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Uh,
Oh, I see. I like that. I like the color, the energy.
yeah, yeah. And then so, you know, I have almost my next art exhibition that is spelling really incredible change and severe change, you know, all this. But I don't know. I had a discussion with a friend of mine today, and he's you know, he's exactly the opposite of you. You know, he's like from the left and operating as a as whatever, and then you, but at least with you I feel like I can have a conversation. Not I feel. I know I can have a
Oh, he's
conversation.
still
I
frothing at
mean,
the mouth.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was amazing how um, it was just like annihilating any chance for discussion, a
Mm.
healthy one. I
Oh, I
mean,
know. I have a
you
couple of
can
friends who
completely disagree,
they're
completely.
obsessed with it. Yeah.
Um, so so I applaud the failure almost. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you though, that's not uncommon anymore, and it's more on the left. I think I've never seen anything like it, and it's because the politics has become so viciously personal. You'll notice all the attacks. They always try to find some horrible personal thing to say about you, about the if you're on the right. If you're on the left, you might say something really horrible, but the press won't report it uh, as such. It's a very scary thing to make. Listen, Haim, do you know that I am considered by the FBI the new categories they have. I'm a domestic terrorist. I'm 80 years old. I couldn't run if my life depended on it, but I'm a domestic terrorist because I believe I like Trump, or I don't like him. I vote for him, and I believe that the Catholic Church should return to the Latin Mass and all that. And that, I swear, that belief alone it means that you're a traditionalist and you're a domestic terrorist.
So
That's how crazy they
so
are.
explain to me how do they come to the conclusion from
That
what you just described
very
into
good.
the fact that they put a title on you?
Anything that disagrees with their worldview becomes not just wrong but evil, to be stamped out, to be corrected, to be punished. It's really we're approaching the Soviet Union KGB level. Forget Hitler. Stalin and Mao were the real murderers of the 20th century. Just even if you just go by numbers. Did you? Now that's right now. There was a guy on TV. He was on TV. I was listening to it on the radio, and he's talking about how in China, um, you get these credits for all the things you do and say what you buy, if you're buying the right kind of stuff and not buying the wrong kind of stuff, you get credits. and that affects your credit score when you go to a bank. And he said that's a wonderful system. It saves you a trip to the bank. And I'm going, what? You're going to get credits for what? You know what they're using that for. If you question the state in any way, and then there's another guy said, yeah, it's really bad. He said, I jaywalked one day when I was in Beijing. He said, I got a ticket in the mail from the Chinese government because I was on the video jaywalking. And somehow they knew who I was from, I guess, my passport photo. They went online or something. Somehow they knew who he was, what he did, and they fined him. That's getting a little crazy.
But let's for a second just contemplate. So what?
Oh, never mind.
You know what? No. But what I'm saying no. Again, it's like but you have to be fair and weigh it against the kind of world that we're living in.
No, this is George Orwell. This is 1984.
Look. I mean, we are accessible to each other from end to end in seconds. I mean, there's a new generation being introduced to all this madness that we really don't even know the beginning of it. So
I understand that being able
where's
to access.
Where's the surprise coming from? I don't understand.
Well, being able to access people is fine, especially maybe.
What about your computers that has a camera that you're on somewhere 24/7?
We're not going to change that. But what I'm saying is, there's.
Why are you surprised? That's my point.
I'm not surprised by it at all. What I'm not surprised but frightened by is that they use it to punish you. To put me on a terrorist list because if you wear
on a terrorist list,
yes,
officially.
I don't. That's what they tell me. If you
who's they?
FBI has lists, has categories now. I'm telling you.
Oh, so you just assume that you fall within a certain category?
Well, if I wear a Trump hat, I'm going to get on that list. So what's that for? So that they know who to come for. Never mind. I mean, I don't think you're aware of how insane they're getting in Washington, down in Washington. The things that they are making lists of. Parents, you know how many times parents who have spoken up at school board meetings get raided in the middle of the night, automatic weapons pointed at their children by FBI SWAT teams because they spoke up at a school board meeting?
But look, we went from art to
well, art. That's
but I
of
like
all people, artists should be the most against that.
Yeah, well, we are.
We are.
But the thing is, but luckily we're too busy. We're very busy creating. What do you think? Making all these paintings come from where? From luxury of doing nothing?
You better not make paintings that make Joe Biden look bad. Which is easy to do.
I'm making paintings that you're happy to look and observe and enjoy, and I love colors. I love working with colors, and I only see one outcome, an outcome that will make people happy. And you know what? With art, it's good to try and please people. It's okay. It's actually a good commodity. You know that?
Suppose you were in the Israeli army. Suppose the Israeli government had spent all its money promoting art, and
of course, we don't want to exaggerate.
Didn't buy any weapons or tanks.
But you're giving me an extreme scenario. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying we should pause more often and give credit.
Oh, by the way, you were right. I asked you, why didn't more Israelis fight back from their houses? Every Israeli goes through military training. It's because the people who live along that border tend to be kumbaya liberals, and they banned guns. They didn't want private ownership of guns. That's why there wasn't more resistance from individual citizens. I was very surprised at that. And remember in the beginning, I asked you, where the hell are their guns? They don't have any. Mostly, they don't have any. That's how many lives that costs.
Yeah,
I know you don't want to talk about it.
No. But I'm saying could have, should have. The thing is that first of all, it's too late to discuss. Really, you can learn from it. Look, you're talking to someone who read almost every book ever written about the Holocaust, and not only because I'm Jew.
Well,
I mean, yes, I'm Jewish, and I said, what the friggin' heck, I don't want to find myself where 1,000 people are chasing me with knives and they're going to just cut me to pieces. And on the other hand, I'm not a wuss, and on the other hand, I'm someone who likes to have fun and kind of this. And on the other hand, I'm also a responsible person. On the other hand, I'm a hardworking individual.
You
And on
are.
the other hand, I'm the citizen of this country. On the other hand, I work hard and I make this country look good. I feel like this. And on the other hand, I have my family that I contribute to these people called the United States of America. And on the other hand, I'm a good person. So, but you know what? So, what's the outcome of all this? Who wants to know? There's certain things that I wonder about, but believe me, Reggie, there's certain things that I wonder about, and I can easily acquire about what exactly is going on here in order to understand the extent of either hatred or weirdness or whatever it is. And as I approached to do that, I said, no, I don't think I'm going to do it
Mm.
because and let's say I will find out all the information that I need to find out. Who wants to inject
You have to
myself
be
with
aware.
information about atrocities? And yes, you know that it's up to no good. It's good enough to know that in order to feel that you're going to fight it or resent it or do everything in your power to do the opposite.
Well, the Israelis, I think, made a big mistake in the first few days there by not showing the most graphic pictures they
But
could
these are
show.
details that I don't think it's even fair to talk about.
Well,
The
that
point is, so what about the Twin Towers? What about them?
yeah, they didn't show
Then a
enough of that
bunch of
either.
friggin' losers came to this country and did the damage. It's like I remember the day it
But this,
happened. The day it happened, I thought I'm going to die. The day it happened, I was here at LTV, and we saw the second tower go down, and the actual impact and everything. And I looked at it, and I thought I'm literally hallucinating. It was
you know,
so unreal.
you had no idea
So
what
do you
else.
think? But do you think that
Well, that's just the point. You're making my point. If something like
but
that happens, you have no
but
idea if that's the
but do you
last.
think I sat for a second and tried to figure out what just happened?
Well,
Later,
course.
maybe. But during that, it was just trying to survive emotionally. I
Well,
thought like I'm losing my.
no, well, you come on. You were a trained soldier. Your first response,
But that goes to show you that
I
it.
guarantee you, your first response deep down was, if this comes here, what do I do to protect my family? I know you, that you would be the first one to take the measures necessary. So if you'd be foolish not to think about, nobody knew if that tower was going to be the only thing they did. Who knew?
But this this is just an attitude. You know what I mean? And you know what? When we lived in this country prior to 2001 and 9/11, it was. We were chilling.
Mm,
You know, no, we
mm.
were a society. Listen, I think that we were a society that even if it was a make believe or wishful thinking, still we knew the meaning of chilling, working hard and chilling and having fun whenever you can,
There,
and marrying and having a family and
there was,
running.
but there was an FBI agent named O'Neill who worked on. He was investigating the '93 bombing down at the World Trade Center, where they didn't put the explosives in the right place. It didn't bring down the building. And for 10 years, 8 years, he told them they're still out there. We're don't turn your back on. Don't look away from this. You got to keep on these guys because these idiots are still out there. Guess you know what happened to him? He died in 9/11. One of the towers fell on him.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, because nobody took him serious, especially Clinton. Clinton was, oh, hey, yeah, don't worry about it. And he wasn't. He had several chances to kill Bin Laden, and he didn't do it. And so, by pretending that it's going to go away, we suffered the consequences.
Yes, and listen,
That's
it's
what I'm
not.
saying. I'm not saying you run around all day thinking about
It's
it,
not
but
over yet, and it won't be over for a long time to come. And in between, only God knows what will happen. But the point is that um, uh, I when I speak of art and the artistic process and all this, I speak of millions of people in this country who's engaged to the level that I am. I'm not alone. There are millions of people throughout the United States of America that create art. That is a movement that is non-wavering, that is strong
I
and
wish some of them
focused.
would move to Hollywood.
Yeah, but what I mean, and and yes, you know what? Maybe some of them own guns, maybe some of them don't. But that's not the point. The point of all points is that you want to show a sturdy face and an attitude in place where you say, well, this is how we operate here. This is
Well,
how we operate here. And you know what? 99% of the time, I don't get return. and in 100% of the time, in some cases, I only 26 years. I'm curating shows here at LTV.
Oh,
I never got $1 out of it.
okay.
What does that tell you?
It tells me that you're very dedicated to what you do.
Good. And you know how many
However,
like me there are throughout the country?
I mean, of course, that's what we try to do as Americans: get it over, get the bad part over and done with, and then move on with our lives. But this threat stays with us every single day, all around the world. The threat of these lunatics keep. We spend the world spends billions of dollars every day in airports and is looking out for maniacs with bomb vests on or poison or whatever, because and most of them are motivated by one thing: radical Islam. And we don't, and yet we pretend that it's not out there. It is out there, and it's not going to be cured by us. It's going to be cured by somebody within. They're going to need a leader to rise up and say, we got to stop this. But until they do that, we're spending a part of our. I hate flying now. You go through all this crap, and it's all because of not many people. There aren't really that many of them, but because we refuse to take it seriously and really end. That's why I'm so proud of what Netanyahu's doing. He's going to finish. They built a whole new city underneath Gaza. The whole new country was underneath Gaza. All that money that the UN sent to Gaza, which 70% of which came from American taxpayers, went to Hamas. They were building tunnels and buying guns. They weren't building. I said to a Jewish friend of mine, I was at the a Jewish family's house for the Hanukkah dinner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, for not Hanukkah, for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what the war cry of the of the IDF should be? Imagine what the Jews could do with 25 miles of Mediterranean waterfront. It would be a booming. It would be a tremendous resort. It'd be the Monte Carlo of the East.
Oh yeah, without any doubt.
No question. There would be a thriving place.
That's why we cannot blame ourselves.
How's that for a slogan? If you have contacts in the Israeli army, I know you do, so you tell them that a friend of yours, a goyim, has an idea for a slogan.
The way you say goyim.
Imagine what the Jews could do with this.
Yeah. That's why we cannot
funny.
We cannot be so hard on ourselves post 9/11, because before, and I remember it was 2001. I was doing this particular show 3 years already, or maybe 3-4 years. Yeah, 98, 99. And I remember that I was just so puzzled by it that I kept on talking about what we were robbed of. That was the most important. It's like being able to chill, like Americans. It was this. This was our idea. This is my idea. I'm like someone who likes to chill, enjoy, work hard, enjoy the freedom, actualize what this country is giving.
The American idea of a chicken in every pot has spread all over the world. But one of the major crimps in our style worldwide is fear of what these people might do, and we're spending a huge number of our resources. We inconvenience the people who are paying the taxes for all this. For whom we're doing this for a very small group of people. We should dedicate the same energy that we did to fighting the Nazis and the communists. We should fight just that hard. Dedicate to let's get rid of them within 5 to 10 years, and we could do it.
But when you do react and you do retaliate, then halfway doesn't count.
No, that's what. Exactly.
Halfway doesn't count, not only when it comes to Israel or this, anywhere. Like the biggest Kabbalistic individuals, they usually say, when you fight, if you don't take the capital, it can never be considered as a victory, even if you hold the capital for an hour.
Cut off the head of the snake.
Because that plants fear in the hearts of people when you say, okay, you know what? we're like 2 seconds away from your home. We can get you right now. But here we are, and you retrieve and all this, but you gotta be there physically. So
There should be a
so they
bounty
took
on their
all the
heads.
greatest victories of the IDF,
We should.
and they told them you want nothing. You never conquered, because you chose to think that it's not important.
Well, look at this. There were people who wanted the Israelis to stop what they were doing after only 2 or 3 days. How crazy is that? Especially with what
Like
they've
you
discovered.
said earlier when we first started the show, if you teach kids about, it's not even about teaching, it's just getting them used to the fact that that there can be more room for happiness in their lives.
Yeah, well,
And I know that and you worked with kids, and you know what the attitude is. You know the drill. So and I definitely firsthand know the drill, because it's just too crazy. Uh, but just a little bit at a time, just as much as they plant hatred, from the other side, other people will plant love and compassion and common sense and straightforward thinking.
So why don't
and coherence?
The fact that we refuse to address the problem. It's like, suppose we had defeated Germany in the war, but we didn't fight Nazism, the philosophy that motivated them. It would have been another fight, another fight. You have to end the poison. You have to get rid of the poison, and the poison was Nazism. I believe communism is a poison, and I believe radical Islam spreads poison. You got to confront it. You can't ignore it, because it's in your face every day. Every time you go to an airport, you pay the price for these psychotic morons running around with bomb vests. Yeah, it's sad. Here in the Bryn, and we're heading for the new year. Can I do this?
Yeah, of course we have time.
Speaking of all this,
speaking of all, what's the okay?
Where should I put this up there?
Just read what it is. It's fine.
It's all right. What really happened on January 6th, 2021? Not this coming one. Find out from someone who was there. That would be me. Thursday, January 4th, at the American Legion Post in Amagansett, right on the corner of Montauk Highway and Abraham's Path, 6 p.m., January 4th. I have a film that was produced by the Epoch Times, which I believe is the finest newspaper in the country right now. And we'll have a discussion, and hopefully it will be informative and enlightening.
Listen, that we live, after all, we live in a country that anyone can do whatever they want and speak their mind, stick up their mind. And and I don't think you were ever scared of just saying what's on your mind. So what?
You don't think I was what?
You were never scared to say what's on your mind. You always expressed yourself eloquently about whether people accepted it, agreed to it or not. I mean, we did one-on-one for over almost a decade, you and I. Almost a decade.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a lot.
I didn't really. Well.
Oh yeah, I have hundreds of our gatherings, and you know what? And really, as much as we spoke about politics and all this, we were pretty creative and pretty artistic.
Yeah, we stayed. We
remember the Poetry Month, and
we always had poems appropriate to the day in history, or yeah. I know. Well, if you had given me some notice about today, I would have brought my little bag of goodies.
Like you can read one of my poems.
and you know what we didn't do this year? Remember where we always had the menorah next? And
yeah,
I would drink
oh
the
my God!
I have the thing still, the stable.
Oh my God!
The stable and the sheep and the baby Jesus.
Yeah, I love it.
And the little star.
Could have put it on the chair next to you or something. Yeah, that's well.
Yeah.
We can do it any other day. It doesn't matter.
Maybe it's not too late. We'll have
not too late. Yeah.
Next time we do it.
Yeah, definitely. But whatever happened to your show? You planned.
Well,
by the way, let me just mention that we're sitting here on Thursday afternoon, December 28th, year 2023. Wow, yeah, I can't believe it. Right across the door from the new year. Here with the Hello show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. My guest is Reggie Cornelia, a longtime friend and a supporter of the station, supporter of the concept of interaction and freedom of speech. And indeed, that's what we do on a daily basis here. So, but what happened to the show that we were so hoping that you will
I had planned to
treat us with your presence on the air?
I've had the surgery on my tongue, and then dental problems springing therefrom, and then automobile problems, and then summer came with, and I was very negligent over this. Anyway, so I'm going to start though. I hope in the next month.
Don't forget, I'm going to be your first guest, correct?
You're going to be my first guest,
I'm
and that might be the end of the show right there. But
I'm just gonna.
Once you're the guest, there'll be no holds barred. You'll be totally out of control.
Oh, maybe I'll build your reputation this way. Say, here we are. He's there.
Then I expect a poem or a painting or both in honor of that event.
Oh, yes. Yeah. By all means.
I'm afraid.
This is where you're going to be sitting. You know that.
Really? We switched chairs? Yeah.
That'll be interesting, no?
Yeah, I'm just going to look for booby traps.
You're so
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know, because we could have had I always enjoyed doing that with the creche and the menorah back there. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I thought that
we were very.
So apropos our town,
very diverse.
Apropos our town, what's your grudge now? Is there any grudge, or you think we're doing well in the town of East Hampton?
Oh, well, they're doing a lot of foolish things but they're Democrats, so.
But did you see that the wind turbine is actually providing electricity already?
The big
or whatever. Give us the info.
Well, the windmills are just a stupid joke. I mean, you put machinery in salt water. The taxpayer is funding all this. It's like these electric cars. Taxpayer money goes in there. They're more expensive to run. They're more expensive to fix. Do you know the insurance rates are going up? For one of the reasons they're going up, in addition to Biden inflation, is these cars weigh a third more because of the batteries. So when they hit something, they do a lot more damage. They're heavier, and the weight is down low, so you really get smacked. There's a lot of drawbacks to all this electric nonsense, and once again, it's being forced on the people by crazy laws. The Japanese Toyota says they're just not. They have a new CEO. He said, we're not doing it. They got one sort of electric car. You can get a hybrid, but they're not. They think that either hydrogen or some other thing is going to be the wave of the future. Plus, all this is based on a false reading of science. CO2 is good for the earth. It makes the earth greener. That's what plants eat, is CO2. The more, what do you put into a greenhouse?
But we don't have problems with CO2. Why are you mentioning CO2? I don't understand.
Oh, you can. That's part of the. That's global. That's why we're getting rid of fossil fuels. Which is insane. You get rid of fossil fuels and you put us back to 1300 AD, or maybe further, because people won't be used. We won't know how to live like that. It's insane. There's nothing wrong, and of course. We are the only country in the world that has actually lowered its carbon footprint. China and India, they're building a coal plant every week. Coal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're laughing at us while we beat up on each other about this, that, and the other thing, and put windmills in salt water.
What are they putting? They're putting the base into the salt water. What are you worried about so much?
Well,
and you think there's no thinking behind it? What is it going to kind of disintegrate after a year?
I went to several meetings, and a lot of people fear that the vibrations from these things are very bad for the sea life that's around them. They certainly get in the way of fishing boats or possibly. All I know is I don't believe in it. I think it's a waste of money, huge waste of money. Nuclear power is the way to go. They have these little nuclear plants now. They could have a plant not much bigger than part of this building, and it could run a small city. And they are also, what we should do. And there's a guy named Steve. I won't mention his last name. Very intelligent guy. He was an engineer of some kind. He belongs to a committee that I'm on. And I told him about these. Nuclear plants that are made. They don't use uranium. They use it's the name of the stone. It just went right out of my head. It's a black stone. It's very, very common. If we built reactors using this stuff, they're not under pressure, so they can't. They don't. If there's a problem, they don't blow up. You can just shut them down. And we built one in the 1950s. Uh, I think the guy's name was Greenberg. He was given the job by the Defense Department to try to build a bomber with a power plant small enough to fit in a plane. They never got it that small, but they built a plant where this thing worked. What is the name of this? Oh, jeez, I'm really losing my mind. But a lot of scientists know about it. A lot of them believe we should be trying it, but for some reason they're not. They're not doing it. But it would solve almost all the problems of nuclear power. The waste is not toxic like and also we're being crazy with the waste. The French have been using nuclear power for about 75% of their power, 80% of the power for years, and all their waste is stored in a very small facility because they are allowed to use the spent rods, the spent. I don't ask me the physics of it, but they are allowed to use it right down to the nub. It's like smoking a cigarette down to the nub, and therefore they don't have a lot of waste to get rid of. We don't allow that ever since 3 Mile Island. It's just a stupid law passed in the 1970s by a bunch of politicians in full panic mode. You know how they act, and then the problem just goes away.
Sometimes it's gonna be better safe than sorry,
Well, anyway,
that's the
so that's the answer. It's nuclear power.
So what these are, you don't have like pages of poems there. It's just more
No,
of the same when it comes to just like whatever it is that flyers that you're gonna put around.
Yeah, you can tell. My graphic artist was on vacation.
Yeah, like so if you want,
this is something a kindergarten kid would be ashamed of.
If you want, you can indulge and go support Reggie Cornelia, because definitely one thing I can promise you that will come out of this is that you will not encounter a stupid person. Someone knowledgeable and someone that will kind of at least can handle an argument or place a scenario in
just come and see see what you agree with and what you don't agree. I hope a lot of people who don't agree with what happened January 6th, or don't forget what happened was I didn't go there. 3 years ago I was 77 years old. Am I really going to go to an insurrection or a riot? Of course not. It was a Stop the Steal rally. That was the name of it. It was a rally to say, I don't believe that election was honest. I believe it was stolen. That's what it was all about. And there were hundreds of thousands of people there. I tried to get a room, I drove down there the day before, and that evening I started looking for a room in Annapolis. I tried all the way from Annapolis into D.C. to get a hotel. There was no room. I finally went to him. He said, "Look, I've checked every place for you, buddy. There's nothing." So I ended up sleeping. I didn't get to bed at midnight or something in a hotel parking lot. It was actually a private lot that the hotel used. So when the guy arrived at 6:30 in the morning, I went over and I said I slept here last night, so I paid him for it. And so if the FBI is watching this, I didn't run out on my bill.
My God, are you like what? Are you? They're like every step you make, you think about the FBI. What are you, a criminal?
But you know what the guy did? Well, they were all over. There were a lot of FBI agents and their accomplices at that so-called riot, which they provoked. By the way, we'll get into that some other time. But what was I going to say? You know what the guy did to me? The parking lot attendant. I said, "How far is it to the monument?" Because not the Capitol. The Capitol is 2 miles away from. Everybody thinks the Capitol is right next to the monument. It's not. It's 2 miles away. So I said to this guy, "How far is the monument from here?" Oh, he says, 15, 20-minute walk. It was 4 miles away. I had to walk 4 miles, and it was a cold, blustery day. It was really cold, and as I walked.
But anyway, again, we're almost wrapping, and we've been on the air for 55 minutes. But the point is going back to square one, and for me, going back to square one is that I never encountered anything negative or bad happening as a result of me engaging in the world of art or expression and creativity and all this. It might sound very cliche, very whatever. I understand that.
Oh,
But you
it's a
know what?
wonderful, it's a beautiful world to
And
be in. Yes.
this is very easy for everyone that's watching to make it their own world. It's not that hard. You know, today with $50, you go to Michael's in Riverhead, you're getting like 3 canvases, 5 brushes, and a half dozen colors and pastes and tubes and whatever. You can start painting, for God's sake. This you couldn't do that 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Definitely not 30 or 40 years ago. It was just impossible. So nowadays you can go and buy 5 notebooks for $3 from TJ Maxx and with 3 pens and write for 6 months non-stop, and you will still have.
All right.
What I'm trying to say is that nothing stands in your way from actually doing it, actually having the canvases.
Are you kidding me? This shows you what I'm capable of artistically.
Yeah, I'm impressed. That's why I don't criticize.
No. But if somebody, you're as busy as you are painting, if somebody came after your family,
I cannot belittle your effort, you know.
would sharpen that paintbrush, and it would be the first weapon that the guy saw before you.
I have so many brushes, so many cans of paint, so many tubes of paint, so many canvases ready to be painted in addition to thousands that I already did. And I don't really sell that often. I'm not like someone that sells so much, if at all. You'll be surprised how little I sell. But that if you were to come to my studio, you'll be baffled by the amount of equipment I have. Forget about paintings.
Well, I was in there part of it one day, and that was quite an exhibit. Are you still in that?
Yeah, and yes, and the thing is that it's double the amount now. It's multiple styles that are erupting and becoming, and it's just growing and growing. You know, I have my painted shoes, a whole outfit, and all this. Anyway, we're running out of time. We got 2 more minutes. I just want to say we're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday, and as much as we're here this afternoon. Thursday, December 28th, year 2023, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. I'm going to give you the last word, but before that, don't fail to remember that we have the ongoing show with Josh Dayton, Steve Lotion, and myself through the month of January. The opening reception Saturday, January 6th, between 4 and 6:30. We'd love to see you there. You get the last word.
Well, say hello to Steve Lotion for me. You know why he's down here? To see you. Not to see you. It's to get out of the Adirondacks. It's before he freezes up there. It's actually not that cold up there right now. But I want to thank you again for having me. It's been a long time. And again, January 4th, if you're not doing anything, come to the American Legion in Amagansett at 6 p.m. Yeah. And we'll have a nice film and discussion of what that film tells us and what I witnessed. I was not at the Capitol, so I can't give you any firsthand accounts of the Capitol, but I can certainly tell you that for 4 hours, 9:30 to 12:30 to 1:30 that day, I was at the monument, and it was entirely peaceful the whole time.
Good. So again, keep up the good spirits. We know you're out there. We know of your interest and of your contribution, and we don't take it lightly. We'll see you soon, sooner than you think.
Thank you.